Hi guys, welcome to our session today. How are you? Okay. Thank you, I'm fine. Cool, thank you for asking. Thank you. Okay, how many of us today? Okay, I think we can start. Welcome again. So today we are going to talk about Apex sharing. Again, first of all, I want you to focus on the reason why we are using all this sharing or something like this. So why Apex sharing? How Apex sharing will come later, and this is the easiest part because I always say, and I keep saying that don't focus on syntax too much because syntax can be found anytime by Googling. You will find it and you can do it easily. But it's important to understand why this coding with this way. And the most important part is when we use this and why we use this. This is important. So today's agenda is actually we are going to talk about Apex sharing and the secondly share object and their properties I will talk about. Then consideration Apex sharing, when we use Apex sharing and why we use it. We are going to talk about this. And of course, we are going to give some examples. We do practice hands-ons and until we understand everything, we continue. So let's start. First, Apex sharing. Usually we use declarative way for the most of the things in Salesforce because Salesforce says no code or less code. So usually we use the declarative way in dashboard, but sometimes the dashboard and declarative way will not be enough for us to meet requirements. That's why we need Apex. That is when actually we use Apex. So we need to understand this very well. So for this topic, Apex sharing is a security topic actually. So when you want to share your record with someone else, there are some ways in declarative way. We know very well from security topics, you remember. I will talk about it later. And when it's not enough, when declarative way will not meet our requirements, then we need Apex sharing and we share our records with someone. So this is the reason why we use Apex sharing. I will give some tangible examples for you to understand. Okay, so I'm coming, thank you. So to provide record sharing programmatically, of course, in Apex, in Salesforce, everything going programmatically. We want it, not manually, and usually we automate everything so that we reduce our workload. This is very important. Now, let's go back and remember the types of objects. You remember we have standard objects, we have custom objects. Custom object, we created many of them. You know how to create, you know when to create, and what is the feature of the custom objects. You know, in custom objects, there are standard fields that come automatically, like ID, like owned by and created day, blah, blah. Generally, there are standard fields in custom objects. And in standard objects also, we have some setup objects. Setup objects is unlike account, opportunity, lead. It is usually a user don't use and interact too much with these objects. For example, user object, for example, profile objects, they are setup objects. And also we have other objects that user don't see, but they are working behind. These are, for example, the sharing objects are the group of them. So we are going to talk about the sharing objects. These share objects are like a shadow of an object. For example, account object has account share object. Contact object has contact share object. Now, this way, every standard object also has one share object. Also, custom object has this object. Then the naming convention is very simple. We put the name of standard object and we add share at the end of this. Like here, you see, account object has a share object, which is called account share. And contact objects, share object will be contact share. If it is custom object, then you remember custom object naming convention is like this. So we put a label, for example, let's say student object in university application, for example. Student object will be, like API name will be student underscore underscore C. This last part, underscore underscore C, tell us that this object is a custom object. So share object of this custom object will be similar to this. Only part is different. The end part is underscore underscore share. Instead of underscore underscore C, we use this underscore underscore share. I think it's clear. Any question so far? No? Yes. Yes, actually, yes, Mike. So as I said, like if we are talking about the student object, this is student custom object. So will be student share. This is share object of student. So this is custom object. So that's all. Okay. No question. Before we continue the properties of share object, I want to show you some share objects from developer console. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay. So you see my screen? Yes, it's okay. Salesforce. Now, let's open all together so that we see together. Open your developer console. Okay, open your developer console. So here in developer console, let's check if these share objects exist or not. When you open file, you know how to create Apex class, Apex trigger, and all this. You can find it here. And also you can open your source so that you see all your source that you have created or standard creation. You will see some source resources here. Let's open. See, these are all the resources you have in Salesforce, and custom or others as well. So for example, let's find a custom object here. Let's try to find a custom object. For example, no, account object is here. And here you see what is it. Account is an object. And with extension, you understand what is it. And also you see account share object. Account share, this is an object as well. We have others, will come later, but you can see history of account and all these others. But for now, we know account object and we know account share object. Also, we have, for example, one custom object, Amazon discount underscore underscore C. This is a custom object. How we know it? You know, underscore underscore C tell us that this is a custom object. And Where is it? No, I can't find it. Anyway, this is so long list. We can find also in open part. You know, when you open, by the way, you see my other screen, right? Okay. So you can see categorized here, like just classes by clicking classes. If you want to see just triggers, here your trigger list and others. So I want to see only my objects other than different things. So in object part, you see all the objects as we see the account object, the contact objects, and all this. So let me find a custom object here so that I will show that custom objects also have the sharing objects. Objects that we created together. I'm looking for an object that we did together. The bad thing here is there is no search button here. Anyway, you remember container object we have created together. Here, container __ C. You remember our project, we work with logistic project. Remember, we created container objects. So here, container object, the custom object, and here is container share object. And the naming convention, as you see, container is, yes, Turkish version. Yes, you are right. Also, we have the English version, the other project we have created. Let me find it so that everyone understand what I mean. Let me find. Practice, yes, practice share is not too common. I'm looking for that we did together in our project. It's too long list, yes, because there are too much objects, because everything you have created and also coming automatically like setup objects, everything is here. So TP order objects, you remember we have also TP order, but this is not ordinary object. So let's talk about tenant object. You know, tenant object we have created together in our program and your project. So the tenant object is tenant __ C, also has tenant __ share. This is share object of tenant. So here is the example of share object. So I think it's clear. I want to continue my slide, if it's okay. Thank you. You can write, by the way, if you have any questions so far. So I don't want to continue without understanding. So I want you to have everything. I mean, you understand everything. Okay, then let's go back to our slide. Now, let's talk about the properties of share objects. Each share object has the following properties. The parent ID, what I mean parent ID here. So for you to understand, let me give an example. What is it about? And maybe before then, I need to tell you the reason. Normally, it's coming with consideration, but let me talk about this first, then I will come back to the other part because this is important. You may think that why do we need Apex sharing? Why? It's a very important question, because in declarative way, we have security models, you remember? So we can talk about them a little bit so that we are going to see the limitation of the declarative security models. Then we are going to use Apex sharing and it will be understood very well. So let's remember the security model of the Salesforce itself. You remember in declarative way, the user, usually the admin, system admin, can create some security models. I mean, accessibility. We can give some access to users by different security levels. Let's remember them. There are four main categories of security model. The first one will be organization access security, where we control, for example, login hours. Sometimes the company will limit and strict the login hours and AP ranges, and all that will be the organizational security restrictions or limitations, so you can control. Also, if you want to control the object access, we have object level security. We control them by profile or permission set. You know, by everything is going under profile, you can give the object security access for each profile. Also, with permission set, you can extend the permission if particular user, particular profile needs extra access, so we can control from there. So I don't want to go to detail because you know it earlier. And another part of the security model, yes. So we had a model also you have in your archive, so you can share if you want. Okay, no problem. So the other part is record level security, field level first. The field level security again, we can control the access to field by this level, and also we have record level security, which is very, very important. And under the record level security, we have also the OWD, you remember, the organization-wide default we give. And also we have role hierarchy, you will remember. And also we have the other sharing rules, manual sharing and apex sharing. So this is apex sharing we are talking about now, because you remember that time I said this part I will talk later. So we came to this point that in record sharing, we have manual sharing and we have sharing rules, and the finally apex sharing is coming. So you can think that why the manual sharing is not enough, or sharing rules is not meeting our criteria. So why do we need apex sharing again? So I will give an example and you will understand. Imagine you have a hospital application, and in the hospital, the record of the patient diagnosis will be very important and private. So I don't want to share the diagnosis of a patient with anyone, with other doctors, with nurses and other people. Only the associated doctor and the related nurse only can see his records. That's what I want, my requirement. Let's think about the other security models. How can you achieve this requirement? So, yeah, I will give an example. Okay, let's think Mike is a doctor of Susan, and the nurse is Eileen. So Eileen, of course, will see her record because her patient, Susan is her patient, and Susan's doctor is Mike. Also, Mike needs to see this record, but not other doctors will see, and not other nurses I want them to see. So how can you achieve this? So let me wait a little bit so that I will see your response, I will see your suggestions first, then I will continue. Yes, sharing rules, yes. You think that with sharing rule we can achieve it? Let's see. Let me open my screen. Okay, how? Tell me. Okay, let's open setup. Okay, you think that sharing rule. Okay. For example, of course, we don't have the hospital application here. We don't have doctors and other objects, but let's think about the account object so that let's create new sharing group in account object. And you are going to understand what I mean. Based on record owner. So who is owner? Is a nurse. Nurse is owner because her patient, and nurse is parent object of the patient object. So the nurse wants to share his record, her records with doctor. So how can you achieve it here? Public groups that we have role and we have role and subordinates. So let's say role, which is the narrow one. So we have only roles here. We can pick doctors here, for example, but we don't have Mike in the list. We don't have particular specific doctor in the list, only profile. We have only role here. And in the role, you can choose maximum, very detailed. If you have this list, for example, you can pick only cardiologist, for example, or just one group of doctor. You can pick one role, not the target name. That's why it's very important. So there is no way you can achieve it here. So public groups, roles, subordinates, again, you can't do it here. Okay, some of you said based on criteria. Okay, let's pick here. What criteria you are going to pick here? Okay, for example, account name. Okay, account name, let's say our patient name will be Susan, right? Equals what? What? We don't have, again, the related object list here. I mean, related field list here. You can't see doctor list here again. So what I need actually, I need to associate the patient ID with the doctor ID so that no other doctor will see this patient diagnosis and details, because every object has ID. For example, the patient ID is there, nurse ID is there, doctor ID is there. I need to associate the patient ID with the doctor ID, but you can't achieve it here. So there's no way. So we can do it with sharing settings, sure. Okay, what about manual sharing? Manual sharing, again. Okay, you can think that, okay, manual sharing is okay. Yes, you can do it, but it is not recommended way, or it is not really preferable way. Why? Imagine there are thousands of patients in an hospital, and do you think that it's possible that every nurse will share their patient's record with related doctor, one by one, manually, which is very tiring and is not good for automation. So we want it automatic and with automation way, so that you will not do it manually. And imagine if your nurse or owner of this record is not capable to share and is very, very long and tiring. So we don't recommend this one. That is why we need Apex sharing, actually. Let me come back to my slide. So as I said, the Apex sharing is wider, and you can associate the ID of patient with the ID of doctor with Apex. I will give example, actually, I will come to that, but I want you to understand the reason and the logic behind that, so that the syntax will come later and easily. So let's come back to this slide. So what we need is parent ID in share objects. In our example, what is parent ID? Parent ID is the nurse ID, because the nurse is the parent of the patient, and the related nurse ID I need so that I'm going to associate with doctor ID. So automatically it will be associated also with the patient ID. So three of them will be working together. Then user or group ID is doctor ID actually, whom I want to share with. It can be one or more. Sometimes you may prefer to share with group of doctors, for example. Sometimes, you know, group of doctors decide what to do, so they need to see the diagnosis, I mean, detail of this patient, for example. Then the access level. Access level, the level access we want to give. You know, you are familiar with this, is very open. If you want doctor just to read and to see the record, or you may also give them access, I mean, edit access, so that doctor also can update this record of this patient. Well, it depends on you. You have these two options, access or read only. I mean, edit or read only. So the last part is raw cows. Raw cows is a pick list actually, is telling you that why did you share this record with this person or with this user or group user. The reason, is it because is owner or something else? There's pick list, I will come to that and I will show you. So these are the properties of sharing objects. If we are okay so far, I want to give example and hands-on. We are going to do practice. Are we okay? Let me check if there's any question. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. So, yes, Silent. Actually, you can do, but still the apex is wider. And also one of the reasons also why we use apex too much, you may find it challenging actually. Instead of declarative way, we are using apex always. And why do we so? Because the apex is faster. Comparing declarative way, apex always is faster and very much faster. And also is dynamic, another side. You know, anytime if you want to update and change it, just you will see code, and of course in Sandbox you can change the code and you can update it. So I will come to that. You will understand when you see the syntax of this apex sharing, and it's not too much complicated. It's very easy. We will understand together. Is that okay? Okay, sorry. Just a moment, sorry. I need just a moment.